Our goal today is to inspire, inform, and engage. I hope that each of you leave with new information, new motivation, and a renewed commitment to building a stronger future for tomorrow's leaders. We're going to talk about the power of positive character, the importance of social-emotional learning, opportunities in the classroom, Georgia's new ELA standards, and hear from one of our state-winning students. That should only be there about 10 seconds. There you go. For over 25 years, the Georgia Laws of Life essay contest with partner schools and Rotary clubs has provided youth the opportunity to reflect upon their lives and personal beliefs. This simple yet powerful program helps shape compassionate, principled, and resilient youth with life skills needed to meet the challenges and responsibilities of adulthood, shaping future leaders to contribute positively to their families, their workplaces, their communities, and their futures. Our contest continues the vision of Sir John Templeton, who created the original Laws of Life essay contest to help young people reflect on the values that guide their lives. The same spirit lives here in Georgia. Our mission is clear: to inspire Georgia high school students to recognize and embrace the power of positive character. Last year, over 30,000 essays were written. 139 volunteer judges from our Rotary partners read and scored the essays to select the winning the student winners, and we awarded $19,000 in cash awards to students and teachers. Since 1999, we have awarded over $450,000 in cash awards. And as you can see, 871,966 students have written a Law of Life essay. In a recent student survey, we asked the students about the experience of writing their Law of Life essay. 96% agreed. It made them more aware of the importance of personal values. 97% reported the process made them confident in the potential to be a better student and a better person. And 94% agreed that hearing their classmates' essays gave them a better understanding of other students. The contest is not only meaningful to students, to student writers, it engages community. It's my honor to introduce Georgia Laws of Life board member Selena Blankenship. I was going to share with you also that Dr. Selena Blankenship just recently retired as the Vice President of Human Resources from the Clarke County School District. She is enjoying retirement, and she's also a member of the Athens Rotary.
Well, thank you, Carol, and good afternoon, everyone. It's really good to see a room full of people who care deeply about students. Not just the test scores and essays, but about shaping their character and helping them find their voice. And let me just say that if you chose to spend your lunch hour here rather than grading papers, you have clearly made the right choice. So first things first, I want to thank the Georgia Rotary Clubs for their generous sponsorship and support of the Laws of Life essay contest. Rotarians do more than just write checks. They serve as judges, they recognize school winners at their meetings, and they even speak to classes about ethics in the workplace. So, in other words, they roll up their sleeves and get involved. So if you're here as a Rotary partner, would you please stand so that we can recognize you? We can do better. Now teachers, this contest contest could not happen without you. You're the ones who introduce it to students, talk them off the ledge when they say, I don't want to write, I don't have anything worth writing about. And then you celebrate with them when they realize that their story matters more than they thought. So if you have led the contest at your school before, would you stand so that we can recognize you? And if this is your very first time leading, or if you're just thinking about coordinating the contest, would you stand as well? Anybody here? First timers? First timers? First timers. Let's go. Anybody online? First timers? So, just a little bit about the contest. At a high level, here's what it's about. Students reflect on a law of life, a personal value or guiding principle, and they write an essay that connects it to their own experience. It sounds simple, but is profoundly powerful, especially in an age where TikTok limits us to 60 seconds. We're asking students to pause, reflect, and put into words what truly matters. And that's rare, and it's priceless. For me, the importance of this work is also personal. I spent more than 30 years in public education as an English teacher, a principal, and most recently as Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. Along the way, I earned my PhD in Human Resource Development. And what I've learned about organizations is this. Schools and communities thrive, not just on curriculum and assessments, but on values, the character that we teach, model, and reinforce. And that's why I love this contest. It lines up beautifully with Georgia's ELA Standards, which you'll hear about in just a moment. It checks all those academic boxes, but it also strengthens character education programs. One example is the Leader in Me program, and there are many others. But it invites students to think deeply about who they are, who they want to become, and how they want to live. And you are the ones who open that door for them. So here's my challenge for you today. Encourage your students to participate. Remind them that their voice matters. And remind yourself that the time you invest in this contest may just be the spark that changes the trajectory of a student's life. Because here's the truth. We don't always get to see the fruit of our labor in education. But with Laws of Life, you can be sure that you're planting seeds of reflection, integrity, and resilience. And that is worth every ounce of energy that we put into it. So thank you again to our Rotary partners, the teachers who have led the way, and to those of you who are just beginning the journey. Most of all, thank you for believing that the students, what they value and what they become, is just as important as what they know. So enjoy, recharge, and get ready to inspire your students to write essays that will surprise, move, and remind us all why we love this work. Thank you. Now I would like to introduce one of those school contest coordinators, Adam Crump. Adam teaches literature and composition at North Springs High School and is the Laws of Life coordinator for the school. He is the advisor for the award-winning student literary journal Echo and online school web paper The Oracle. Prior to teaching at North Springs, he taught high school in Brooklyn, New York, and worked as a journalist and content manager for Kaplan Test Prep. Adam still writes and edits for numerous publications and serves on the advisory boards of the Georgia Scholastic Press Association, Congress or Hadash, and Scout Pack and Troop 1818. He lives in Norcross with his wife, son, and daughter, who will be a North Springs graduate this year. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Appreciate it. Oh, that photo, that's my own photo that I took. That is what it's like to wake up as a teacher on Friday morning. Fortunately, I did not have to get up so early this morning, just here with Because of this wonderful invitation from Carol and Elizabeth. Prior to this, and I'm honored to be here, prior to this, I've been involved in Rotary Laws of Life for about 10 years, both as coordinator and participant. And I've always loved the fact that, as Carol said, that you really do get to know your students. We brought the Laws of Life into our own curriculum at North Springs about midway through the year. We first learned about 10 years ago, and really built up a strong following of teachers who believed in the importance of it and the power of it. And we came to recognize that this is really a great way to start the year. The problem, as many educators know, is that you are constantly bombarded with curriculum, deadlines, goals, things that you have to check boxes for, as well as learn. And we say to ourselves, how do we build in something that is so important and monumental to a curriculum that could already be so overwhelming with what we have to do? And to that I say, easily. We wanted to make things easy for you, the teachers, so that you can come in fresh, whether you're a new person coming into the Laws of Life or a seasoned veteran who's done it before, and breathe a sigh of relief knowing that we have you covered, because you probably heard any sort of the new Georgia standards released this year, if you're a teacher. Okay. How many of you are familiar with the old Georgia standards, the core curriculum standards? So often when we hear the word standards, we think of numbers corresponding to words that may make no sense to the average person, and that we have to translate into goals for our learners. So it was at the last Rotary Luncheon at the end of last year where Carol approached me and said, what do you think we can do to upgrade, change, think through the contest? And I said, well, you know, Carol, we've got some new standards coming down the pipes from the state of Georgia, and I think teachers would be appreciative if we jump on board right now, even though we ourselves as teachers are learning how to apply the new standards and learning what they are. And we went ahead and brought them into the fold of what Laws of Life is doing. So teachers, please know that while some of the material you've used before is familiar, a lot of it has now been reinterpreted to integrate these new standards into lessons so that you have to not reinvent the wheel and do anything. So I'm going to walk through for everyone what this involves in just a moment. But first I want to talk about my own experience. Obviously, first of all, we can't do this without you, Rotary Club. Thank you so much for sponsoring and inspiring and helping us do it. And I will say, if you haven't spoken directly to Carol before, or Elizabeth, or anyone involved in the contest, they are wonderful as resources, supporters, helpers. They really want your input, and they really care about the students and what the students have to say in their story. So again, I'm honored to be here just as a teacher. That's all I am, just like many of you who said, how can we make things easier for our teachers to build this into our schools and really spread the word and the joy of writing. So thank you, Carol, for having me here to do that. And so we worked over the summer to find ways to really build it, but we also want to hear from you. And that's, as Carol said, there are questions at your table. If you haven't had a chance already, please discuss, write your thoughts so we can learn from you. To that effect, if you see anything in here that you are not sure of, please ask a question. If you see a typo or a mistake, please know I'm the kind of teacher who says, let me know so I can give you a bonus. And if you're a teacher who really has drilled down into standards and you're like, wait a minute, just know that we're learning as we go. I mean, if you're a teacher, you know that we're constantly flying the plane as we build it, or vice versa, and that's kind of why we want to get ahead. We wanted to give you some at least longer wings and landing gear so you know how to come in and do this. And those who are experienced doing the contest know this, but the hardest thing may be getting others I'm more than involved because, as I said at the beginning, we have a lot of ground to cover in our curriculum. So, we want to address the obvious elephant in the room. Does the Laws of Life contest meet the new 2025-2026 standards? Absolutely. The essay assignments fit easily into the language, text, and practice domains, as well as big ideas included in the new Georgia ELA standards, and allow schools to effectively implement them. Laws of Life lessons here most closely align with the new 10th grade lit and comp domains and expectations, but can be easily adjusted by teachers to lessen or enhance rigor for other grade levels. Why 10th grade, you ask? One of the changes from the state this year is that the annual test, the end of course test, has moved from 11th grade to 10th grade. There are many thoughts, trains of thoughts about this, and many reasons that we could discuss philosophically, but that's not why we're here. The reality is the 10th grade teachers, God bless them, have probably the toughest job this year because they're learning to apply new standards to what they're doing with curriculum. What are standards? Can I have someone in the audience tell me, what do we mean by standards? Come on, teachers, help me. Victor. I'm gonna call him. Go call.
So standards are those things that we're expected to master, have our students show mastery of. So if we're teaching figurative language, for example, we have a whole slew of standards that were to meet with that makes our instruction explicit and clear and helps with consistency from school to school.
Thank you. Bonus points for jumping in. Yeah, it really is the goals. How do you know what you're teaching? Well, obviously we know we're teaching books. We know we're teaching writing skills. But we need to know for sure, has a student learned and mastered a particular skill, whether figurative language, whether narrative. So this all drills down to really technical, boring stuff for the average person. So how do we make it palatable to people like ourselves and to teachers and make it interesting for kids? The common core standards that we're most familiar with, the goals that we set for students, could be mind-boggling as it is. I would say there were about 20 basic things in ELA that we have to know as teachers that our students have mastered. And things have changed so that while those skills will apply, when you look at the charts of what the standards are, there seem to be a lot more. They just seem to proliferate. There's lots of numbers, there's lots of words, and it can be mind-boggling. Has anybody ever seen the movie RoboCop? Okay, so you know how RoboCop has 3 prime directives, the 3 things he has to do, and they add a 4th that means he can't do the other 3 without going to the 1? Think of if you went from 3 or 4 prime directives to 613, right? It gets pretty mind-boggling. So when I first saw the chart for the standards in the training center, I said, oh my gosh, like, how am I gonna wrap my head around this? It's hard enough to keep track of the other stuff. It's really not that hard. What I think is great about it, and you're gonna see a little demo of what it looks like. What I think is great is that it really spells out for students specifically what you're doing. The good news is, as always, the Laws of Life manual has lesson plans. And so what we've done is we've taken the old standards and put them side by side with new standards so you know what you've done before and how it applies to what's new. There are 4 lesson plans in here. The first 3 are probably familiar to those of you who've taught the contest. The 4th is new, thanks to a new teacher. Putnam County contributed something. We wanted to build in not just writing, but some more creative elements to really get students to think in multiple modalities besides writing, but visually and creative, and also use this as an opportunity to really promote the contest. So lesson 1 dives right into narrative writing for the contest. If you've already introduced the topic of narrative and you've done it, grab lesson plan 1 and just get right to it. Just dive right in. If, on the other hand, you haven't taught narrative yet, but you're going to as part of your curriculum, lesson 2 is designed to provide a foundational understanding of narrative writing along with the Laws of Life assignment. So instead of whatever narrative you are planning to give, you can give the Laws of Life instead or in addition to. and build it into curriculum without having to add time or anything new. Lesson 3 is an original plan for devising a narrative based on the creation of a coat of arms. So there's a creative element there where students create a coat of arms based on their motto, their credo, their law of life, and build their narrative creatively from that. The newest lesson, Plan 4, expands the Laws of Life essay writing into a creative visual lesson by creating Laws of Life posters connected to a narrative. So in addition to the posters that you all will receive today, if you haven't already, please make sure you pick them up, that Rotary's created for us, you can have your students themselves design posters from out around the school to contest and also show their own creative thinking and share their own words of wisdom that become the laws of life. Are there any questions so far? I'm speaking too fast or things boggle your mind? Okay. So why these homegrown standards for Georgia? They focus on foundational literary standards. They support for diverse learning needs using grade band progressions. Now, don't worry about understanding all of this because I'm still wrapping my head around stuff. Shift in interpreting, instructing various teaching modes in multiple formats. They were created by 300 Georgia ELA educators with input from parents, students, and business leaders. I honestly don't know how you get everything together with 300 ELA teachers because we have 5, we're all on different pages, but all right. So this is the technical side. I'm going to go through this quick, but we've gone from, as I said, basically 20 basic standards that students have to do to what's called domains, big ideas, then the standards, and here's where we get to the big numbers, the expectations, what the students need to know. Domains cover broad areas of skill concepts, okay? Big ideas help unify related standards. Standards describe core competencies for each grade band, and then expectations communicate essential skills and enduring modes for each grade level. This already sounds like a lot, right? My head's ready to explode here. So domains are the same in any grade level, K through 12. Big ideas also stay the same across. Standards will stay the same across K through 12, but expectations change by grade. What a 9th grade student needs to know about literature is the same in the big picture for other grades, but they may not have the expertise that they need and they have to learn it. So we're going to be teaching 9th grade at a different level and a different set of rigor than what we would need to do for 10th grade, 11th, and so on. So the standards are designed in mind to help students at different grade levels rather than in a generalized way, in a more specific way. We can go to the standard slides if we want. If anyone has questions at the end, we don't really need to right now. Anyway, let's get back to Laws of Life. The essay assignment for Laws of Life fit easily into new language, text, and practice domains. Laws of Life lessons here are closely aligned, as I said, with the 10th grade Lit and Cop domain standards. Laws of Life rubric adheres to the 4 ELA achievement levels of student mastery: beginner learner, developing learner, proficient learner, and distinguished learner. What is nice about this is that Rotary Laws of Life has always provided rubrics for their lessons that teachers can easily use. They have now translated those rubrics to closely match the expected rubrics for the current standards, the 10th grade level things. So you're not having to reinvent the wheel. You're not doing anything new. It integrates very well into curriculum. I've color coded to make it easy. Okay, original standard, blue. New standards, yellow. There's a really great chart, if teachers you haven't seen it already, that side by side describes the difference between the bands the kids are learning in 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade. Here's an example. Common Core standard from last year, standard W1. Write arguments to support claims and analysis of substantive evidence. All right? The new standards, as you can see, add some complexity and, as I said before, a lot more specificity. So we have matched side by side the original standard with what the students are expected to do now. Big idea techniques. Students evaluate and apply various techniques to comprehend and shape meaning. They're using argumentative templates to evaluate and apply argumentative techniques to enhance text appeal to audiences or achieve specific purposes. Apply argumentative techniques strategically to enhance writing engaged audiences. I'm going to stop there. Remember what I said about the prime directives? I'm already feeling a little bogged down. The point is, all of this is the same as, all of what's here is the same as what's in blue. It's just a lot more specific. So we've made it easy for teachers to say, the lessons are aligned to this, here's what we're doing. W3, write, this was the original standard in the lesson plans last year, write narratives that develop real or imagined experiences or events using effective techniques, well-chosen details, and well-structured event sequences. Teachers, you no longer have to think, well, how do I make a lesson plan with the new standards? They're right here for you under the yellow. And so on. Producing clear and coherent writing in which the development, organization, and styles are appropriate to task, purposes, and audience. Old standard there, new standards here side by side. You get the idea. So everything is there for you prepared. It sounds complex, it sounds complicated. It's really not when you get used to it, but like I said, we're all building and flying the plane. The Manual for Laws of Life has links that will help you, take you to specifically the 10th grade standards that this aligns to, as well as other resources to help you. Again, I know that when we give speeches, we're supposed to know our audience, so I'm really speaking to the teachers right now, so Rotarians, bear with me. We're going to get to the fun stuff. Sample lesson plans are in the Laws of Life manual. I don't believe we'll have time to go through them today. I've already highlighted them, but I do want to give particular emphasis that we changed the ordering, so what was the second lesson plan became the first, because that is, again, if you want to just dive right in and teach, you've already taught narrative, but you want to get going, that lets you do it. I want to give a shout out again to the fourth lesson plan that really builds creativity into this. It's a good way to start because you don't even have to have the essay. You just have the kids choose the aphorism, the maxim, the quote that they live by, the lesson they learned, create a poster from it, and build excitement about the contest from there. I've made a list of teacher to-dos. If you're starting out, whether you're new or you've done this before, how do you build engagement in the school audience? Teachers who've done this before, do you have every English classroom on board with doing the Laws of Life? What percentage of classes would you say are participating? Yep.
At first part, we have 100% participation.
That's wonderful.
And embedded over the principal class. Our former principal is really engaged with it, so that's his legacy.
Yes. Administrative support is key. Again, we've recently tried to build this in curriculum. Our administration is 100% involved and supportive, and that's what we want to do is build that engagement. And I would love to talk to you further about that. Did you want to say something?
I would say like for 11th and 12th grade, we have really good engagement with it across the two upper class grade levels. And then we have kind of pockets here and there with freshmen and sophomores, but those students who are applying to college, thinking about their college essays, there's a lot of overlap here with this, with what they're already kind of naturally thinking about with that process.
So what we want to do is for those grade levels where there may be pockets but not full participation, there's a number of reasons for that, and that's okay. Like I said, there's a lot of curriculum to get through. So how do we build engagement? Well, number one, the creative lessons. Number two, here's what I do. I started the year saying to my colleagues in the department, let's just give this as a class due now. Let's give it as a free write. They can do it typed, they can do it on notebook paper. You could do it for a 10-minute free write or a 30-minute pre-write of an essay. Just give it to them right off the bat at the beginning of the year. It serves two functions. Well, actually several functions. It serves the function of getting them acclimated to the contest, what it's about, what it is. It gets something written right away that they have to go on. And most importantly, as I said before and as I said at the beginning, it lets you as educators know your students. Because whether they're writing something that's minuscule about something that happened to them one day, or whether they're writing about something they learned from maybe, we've heard many heartwarming and heartrending stories about the loss of a parent or relative. Had a couple this year about learning a lesson by taking something from a store. We're not going to make names or anything, but there's lessons to be learned, right? So let them tell their stories. even don't do the full essay, just get them going with their ideas. Learn about them, learn about their experiences, their fears, their hopes from this, and get to know them this way. You're also building interest and engagement and knowledge of the contest. And then, of course, tell them about the contest and prizes, because that gets everyone excited too. And then follow up with your contest coordinator about submissions, and a strong contest coordinators. If you're here, I'd love to talk to you more about what you do to engage. But I'm in everyone's face all the time. Like, you know, you got this. I'll do everything for you. Just have the students do this. There's resources that the essay contest also provides. And if I'm getting short on time, just let me know. So this is one slide I show. It really just boils down the basics of what teachers do with the contest. This tells the student, well, what's the law of life? I don't need to go through it with all of you, you know, but I'm just giving them the basic things, the basic information they need to know right off the bat. So teachers know why they're giving this brainstorm. We have a mini lesson. Now, admittedly, this lesson is aligned to the old standards. We did not go back and update this one yet, but that's something that we all will be doing. And I think, like I said before, Carol, Elizabeth, they're all very receptive to your ideas. That's why we have the questions on the table. We want to hear from you and build and expand and do further the things to make the contest align more to the changes that we're dealing with. So sample brainstorm. I just simply say, write something in this box. This will get things going. Sample instruction plan. I haven't developed one for this yet, but Carol, this is the way we can go in the future, is really expanding out what we're doing. So I have my contact information here. If anybody would like to talk more, I'm happy to do that. First, I don't know how much time. Okay, any questions so far? Thank you for bearing with me through all the technical stuff. Last thing I'll say, actually before question, is the power of this. I have a current student, name's Christian, and he wrote an essay last year, and he's usually soft-spoken. He doesn't speak a lot in class. He had another teacher at the time, but he had a lot to say in his essay, and he was one of our winners. And he came, and his parents were very proud to come to the contest, and I don't recall if he wanted to read or not. Sometimes they're very shy, but the whole notion of being able to express himself and be recognized for it really motivated him to take a step up. So we moved from an on-level class to an honors class this year, and the first thing he said to me walking into school when he entered my classes, Mr. Throne, are we doing the Laws of Life contest again? And I proudly said, yes, Christian, we are. Any quick questions? Detailed questions we'll get into later. Again, I'd love to talk to the educators afterward and answer questions for Rotarians. Any questions I can answer right now? All right then. Thank you. And thank you to my colleagues, my fellow teachers. I appreciate your help and support.
Again, this is our second year of having an electronic contest manual. It's available on the teacher's page of the website. It's available to anyone. And all the things that Adam and I talked about, and I'm going to share, can be linked to off of this electronic manual. Oh no. I hit a button.
We all
I'm a magician now. As Adam mentioned, and I'm glad he did, we believe that the contest is best when it's a classroom assignment and the whole school has an opportunity to participate. We know that isn't always the case, but it's something to always strive for. And we encourage schools and teachers to start small and build to that. Start with a particular grade and build, add another grade. And while we offer the lesson plans, and they're pretty good lesson plans, the number 4 lesson plans brings in a new aspect. You know, after the student has written their essay, to design a poster around it using a free Canva account. Some of those are, I want to get some of them on the website, just haven't been able to do that yet. But we strongly encourage teachers to do what's best for your school and your classroom. Details about the essay, Adam mentioned a few of them up here, 500 to 700 words, needs to include a law of life. And a law of life can be funny, it can be amusing, it can be from a famous author, poet, actor. It can be something that we've heard our parents or grandparents say years and years and years. But it is always something that summarizes an idea or a character value. It needs to be a personal story. While it can be about someone else, it's the lesson that person learned. It's the lesson the student learned from that relationship or from that person. And every student that writes a law of life essay, we need them to fill out a student release form, or better known as a SURF. We have two options. There's an electronic version, it's a Google form that the student just fills out the Google form, and then it automatically sends the teacher a copy ready to be uploaded to the Award Force platform. Or if you want to use a printed version, that you can print the PDF, have them fill that out, then you have to scan it and get it electronic to upload. More details than I'm sure some of you want. And then please, send us a variety of essays, the ones that you submit for judging. Perfect grammar and perfect spelling is not the judge's main criteria. It's the essence of the story. It's the lesson that the student has learned, and it's their perspective. And keep in mind, winning essays cannot reflect negatively on someone because they are published and they are read aloud. So while we believe that every student that writes a law of life essay is a winner, we do have prizes. As mentioned, sometimes that's enticing. So at the school level, we have $50 grade winner and $100 for the school winner. Winning, the cash prizes are based on the school size and the number of essays written. And guess where you can find all that information? The essay manual. It's on the website. We have 8 state winners of state prizes ranging from an additional $100 up to an additional $1,500. And we'd like to thank our teachers, all school contest chairs that reach the minimum participation level based on their school size. It's a $100 honorarium, and then we have a $100 prize to the teacher of the school, of the state winner, and our 2 named awards. Those of you here today picked up your school posters and student stickers. Those of our school partners that are online, we will begin mailing those out to you guys next week to the school. The essay due date this year is the 9th of February, and we will announce, as you can see, the state winners on the 2nd of April. We try to get it in before spring break. It's always a challenge. I missed something. I wanted to talk about the volunteering, the essay judges. So in December, we'll start recruiting judges from our Rotary clubs, and the judging, again, will start there after the 9th, and it's a month-long process. It's a lot of work for 4 weeks, but it's always enjoyable. The volunteers always get something out of it. It's like a peek into the eyes of today's youth. Elizabeth and I are always around to answer questions, so please don't hesitate to reach out. We are using Award Force again this year. So one helpful hint, when you go to the computer to sit down and upload your essays or submit the essays, go ahead and have all your SURFs electronically and all your student essays, because they've got to be uploaded. It makes it a lot easier. And if you have a team of teachers helping you, please only use one login. Just share the login. We really need you to do that. Again, the essay manual is electronic. It's available on the website, and everything we've talked about is here. I do want to say, oops, I don't know if this is going to work. You can open the Award Force platform from here, and there are training videos for Award Force that you can link to from the page here. So Now the exciting part. Those of us involved with Law Supplies, we all know that it's the students that inspire us. And we have the honor today to have our 24-25 state winner with us, Alphonsa Joby from Denmark High School. I had the honor of meeting Alphonsa at the Georgia Rotary District Conference. So as our Rotarians know, this year it was 3 times larger than any other district conference. And this young lady was phenomenal in front of a crowd of 600 people. So it's my honor to introduce, when asked to come on up and share your essay, Alphonsa Joby.
I always have to do that, I'm just a little shorter. But good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alphonsa, and I'm from Denmark High School, which is in Forsyth County. And before I begin, I just wanted to say thank you all so much for being here. And I'm so grateful for this opportunity to share my essay once again. Special thanks to my parents, who have essentially taught me every law of life, and to my ELA teacher, Mr. Elaine, who has introduced the law of life and helped me and my classmates through the writing process. And of course, to Miss Carol and Miss Elizabeth for all their guidance. So I hope you enjoy this essay just as much as I did writing it. It's not what you got, it's what you give. Growing up, my father always seemed to be on a mission. His acts of service were like the threads of an intricate tapestry, subtle, persistent, and woven with purpose. Whether it was organizing food drives or managing a charity for underprivileged communities in India, he moved with a quiet conviction. Watching him was like observing a sculptor at work, each action deliberate and full of meaning. But to me, it was all a blur, a puzzle. Why dedicate so much of yourself to people you didn't even know? You'll understand one day, he said, his voice steady with certainty. I wasn't convinced. Years later, I found myself ripping a box of sandwiches and toiletries as I walked through the streets of downtown Atlanta with my church youth group. The city's hum seemed louder that day, each sound punctuating the unease gnawing at me. I wasn't entirely sure how to end up there, perhaps out of curiosity, or perhaps something deeper pulling me forward. The crisp air carried an unfamiliar energy, a mix of anticipation and unease. But as we neared a group gathered near the shelter, something shifted. The people we approached weren't just individuals. They were stories, etched into faces marked by time and circumstance. I handed a sandwich to a man named James. His hands, cracked and calloused, held the sandwich as though it were a rare gem. "Thank you," he said softly, his words deliberate and full of weight. In his eyes, I saw a reflection of something I couldn't yet name, a depth of gratitude that felt larger than the act itself. The day unfolded in snapshots. A child clinging to her mother, a young man sharing a laugh with one of our volunteers, an elderly woman smiling through the tears. Each encounter felt like a brushstroke on an unfinished canvas, getting more colorful with each interaction, vivid and deeply human. By the time we packed up, I was silent, a tangle of thoughts swirling in my mind. "So, what did you think?" one of the volunteers asked as we loaded the last box into the van. It was a simple question, but the answer wasn't. "It's like giving fills a space I didn't know was empty," I said finally. She nodded, her knowing smile speaking volumes. That night, I found myself replaying the day's events. The world often encourages us to accumulate possessions, achievements, arcloads, but giving had an untangible power. There's a quiet truth that often goes unnoticed. The more you give, the fuller your life becomes. It felt expansive, like opening a window in a stuffy room. I thought of my father and his unwavering commitment to others. His late nights and tireless efforts weren't about duty or obligation. They were about something far more profound, a joy that only comes when you place yourself before others. My father's actions weren't isolated acts. They were threads that shaped the fabric of my own life. His unwavering dedication to giving became a part of me, guiding my actions and anchoring my values. The tapestry we began is one that I continue in. Each act of kindness having its own color and texture. Now, I see that truth clearly. Giving transforms. It doesn't just alter the lives of those you help. It shifts something within you. It makes you more aware, more connected, and more whole. I think back to my dad's words. It's not what you got, it's what you give. At that time, they seemed simple. Now, they resonate with the force of revelation. They become my compass, guiding me towards a life filled with purpose and light. In every act of kindness, there's a chance to create something larger than yourself, and that's a lesson worth living. Thank you.
I love that essay for a number of reasons. One, having worked in nonprofit forever, giving is always important to me. And another reminds me of my dad. My dad used to say, anytime somebody said thank you, he'd go, thanks a million, thanks a million. And I would be standing there like, what is he doing? I was so embarrassed. But I don't know, after I got older and I realized he really was that thankful. He was thankful for people in his lives and opportunities he got. So thank you for sharing your story. So now, we want to hear from you, the people in the room, our guests today. Remember the questions on your tables? Everybody, you got one person that's going to stand up and share their tables reflections?
Yeah.
Do I have anyone that will go first? Okay, I have a volunteer or somebody that's been volunteering. Voluntold. So if you could share the question and then your tables reflections.
Since Rotary's mission of service is to promote integrity and to advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through our fellowship of business, professional, and community leaders, what better opportunity do we have than to encourage, to guide, and to reward our young people through the Loss of Life essay contest?
Wonderful, thank you.
Our question was, what's a moment when you saw the contest make a real difference for students? A student essayist spoke at our club, touching the hearts of our Rotarians so much that one offered her a scholarship fund for college, and the club still talks about her story more than a decade later.
That was the perfect question for the Griffin Club to answer. I did not set that up, but I will say that that student may or may not be joining us at the Founders Celebration in October. I'm going to go over here. You ready?
Yes.
Leticia's still writing.
So I was just thinking of some thoughts about the strategy, some of the ideas. One of the things I thought in terms too for Greenville High School, which is located in Greenville, Georgia. We have a great principal, we have one of the greatest superintendents and the assistant superintendent. And also with us from our location is Kay Williamson and Lewin. There you go. But Kay Williamson is here with us today. The idea of knowing that each and every student from Greenville High School can share a vision, a dream, even hope and aspiration for something great in their lives. All students enjoy the laws of life. Each moment counts for all the students. Each moment counts for all the students. And one of the things that our students are excited about, they're excited about writing. They're excited about sharing their dream. They're excited about sharing some of their thoughts and their ideas about what they can do, what they can accomplish, and what they have become. at Greenville High School. And one of the things I wanted to share, most of the students at Greenville High School, when we have this event, we have an event that focuses on the accomplishments of the students. So one of the accomplishments of the students, and most, we get 100% participation from grades 9th through 12th grade. And how we get that 100% participation, the teachers are energized. The teacher motivates the students to put forth this effort each year in doing the Laws of Life essay. Now, each year as well, we have a celebration at the Board of Education where we get the certificates. We also allow them to get the medallion. We also have a celebration at the Rotary, which is in Warm Springs at the First Baptist Church. We give them a luncheon. And we celebrate every effort of each one of our students at Greenville High School, Marion County. Thank you so much.
Ms. Table?
Well, I'm going to answer it, but not because I have the right answer,
There is no wrong answer.
but because no one else had the answer either. So, first I'll start off with a little story. So I'm Karen Nolan, I'm with the Alpharetta Rotary Club, and I joined the Alpharetta Rotary Club. I was transferring Rotarian from the Bristol City Pentagon Club in 2008. And Alpharetta did not do the loss of life, and I was annoying. I was like, why don't you do the loss of life? We need to do the loss of life. Why don't you? So finally, the president was like, we're just going to do the loss of life, because he got tired of me asking. So to bring that full circle, we had to create, and this is the part I don't know all the details on, we had to create a relationship with the schools, because there wasn't one. And our Interact chair, or not our Interact chair, our youth service chair became the conduit for that, and has remained the conduit for that every year. So when the Laws of Life program starts this time of year, they reach out to all the schools in the Alpharetta area, North Fulton, and fortunately we have the North Fulton Club that also helps us, and starts building the demand, or the, how can we help? We really want you to engage. And then after my favorite part is reading the essays, so I have to admit to that. We read the essay. Angie Reese is in my club. She read the essays this year and was a voting member. But after they win, then we really pursue recognizing them. We, connect with the Laws of Life staff, and we say, we want a winner to come to our club, and we usually make another scholarship contribution to them. So, and I think that gets that whole circle of, I'll call the Laws of Life circle, when it comes back to recognizing them back at the club, it generates the interest to get back out to the schools, start working with them again for the next year. So that's the story as I see it unfolding, but I've really pretty much been on the, I love to read the essay side.
That's the best side to be on.
It is.
As an English teacher, I would encourage and require my students to write this essay as a classroom assignment because it focuses on an important subject that has relevance and meaning to writing across the curriculum. This essay enables students to share a slice of their soul. That's what I say as a writer. As a creative writer myself, I find that when students are allowed to show vulnerability, they put a little bit of that soul out there. And as those of you who are English teachers know, the thousands and thousands of essays we read throughout the year, persuasive writing, argumentative writing, descriptive writing, the creative piece of the personal narrative is so vitally important to that student's identity. Therefore, I believe that this essay speaks to humanity as a whole while utilizing the student's authentic voice to tell his or her own story. And I think this essay is one of the most important aspects of a student's writing capability to communicate what their truth is. And for we as Rotarians, we get the distinct pleasure of reading and enjoying these essays as we heard today. Thank you.
school and students involved and enthusiastic about the contest. Help the teachers understand that the contest can be easily woven into their curriculum without adding to their plate. Use your network of support and have former contest winners speak to classes to encourage participation.
That was perfect. And our reflections and from our student Alphonsa reminds us that this contest is about connection, reflection, and character. As we celebrate the voices of today's students, we also need to make sure this opportunity is here for students of tomorrow. That's where the Bridge to the Future vision comes in. We are closing in on a remarkable milestone, 1 million essays. That's 1 million students in Georgia who will have had the opportunity to think deeply about what matters to them most. And I turned it off again. Oh well.
It'll come back on.
Oh, there it is. Oh, okay. Well, now I'm off my place. Excuse me. We want to be ready for the next million. The Bridge to the Future campaign is about making sure the contest continues to grow and remains strong for years to come. The campaign goal is to raise $180,000 in 3 years. But this is about more than money. It's about building a stronger foundation for the contest, supporting teachers with the tools they need, strengthening our partnerships with Rotarians, building champions in the community, and making sure students continue to have this opportunity. To find out how to engage in the campaign, check out the Bridge Campaign webpage from our website. This fall, we will host our 4th Founders Celebration on October the 9th. This year, recognizing the bridge builders and others who are helping us move this vision forward. It will be a celebration of where we are, the students and teachers who are the foundation of the contest, and a chance to look ahead together. As we close today, I want to bring us back to the heart of the contest. You, our teachers. The dedicated teachers who bring the contest to life for their students. The Rotary clubs who make the contest possible in your communities. The essay judges who give their time so every student's voice is heard. You are the foundation of the program. Together, we are making lasting impact. One essay, one student, one life lesson at a time. And I think I can speak for every Rotarian and even teacher in the room. We can't wait to see the essays from the students in February. So again, thank you for being here. We appreciate everything you do.